Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the IBAC is BAO SafetyNet webinar series presented today with Ruben Mann and Caden Oseen of TrustFlight, and they'll be talking to us about using AI to supercharge safety teams. I'm Catherine Hilst. I'm the ISBAO Operations Manager and the voice in the background, if you will. I do have a few housekeeping items before we get started. Because of the number of attendees, the audience members will be on mute and stay on mute through the presentation, but we do have a place for you to ask your questions and welcome those during the session. It is in your control panel for GoToWebinar. It's on the bottom of that panel and you'll see a spot where it says questions. Feel free to type in your questions or comments, and I just wanted to let you know our presenters are going to be asking you for some examples of safety reports to show how that works in their program. So you'll get a demo from them, and then we'll let you know. You can type them in at any time if you have something you would like them to try out in the system. While we're live, you can submit that in the questions. So questions, comments, put those in the questions panel in your control panel, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. We're very excited to host the SafetyNet on using AI to supercharge safety teams. 2024 has been coined the, quote, year of AI, but how will it impact safety teams and be used to improve safety outcomes within aviation? Great question. Against a backdrop of increasing complexity, organizational pressures for efficiency, and teams with varying experience, we're going to explore practical ways AI can be used. Common struggles from safety teams, including inefficient systems and processes, high manual workload, and difficult analysis and reporting of safety data. Using our experience of implementing safety management systems across more than 350 organizations and as an early pioneer in the application of AI, our panelists today are going to be exploring where AI is best suited to have the most impact for safety teams, including the demonstration of practical examples. And that's where you all will come in. Areas will include streamlined reporting to enhance safety culture, augmented safety report analysis to reduce workload, and use of AI to automate audit and compliance activities. We'll feature innovative ways AI can be used to improve communication and provide real-time feedback to professionals on the ground and in the air, ultimately improving levels of safety. Lastly, the session will highlight considerations on how to safely implement AI into existing systems and safeguards that teams should consider. Our presenters today are Ruben Mann. He serves as the Director of Marketing at TrustFlight. As part of the executive leadership team, Ruben shapes business strategy and ensures strong alignment with commercial teams to drive global market growth. Prior to TrustFlight, Ruben founded and led ACR Group's Marketing Center of Excellence for technology solutions across advanced air mobility, public safety, oil and gas, government, military, and transport sectors. And Caden Oseen serves as the AI Product Manager at TrustFlight, where he oversees AI integrations into the company's products and leads research and development efforts on AI applications in aviation document management, reliability analytics, and safety management systems. Caden's expertise in artificial intelligence drives innovation in TrustFlight's approach to aviation technology solutions. I am so excited for today. I feel like the future is now. So Ruben and Caden, I am going to hand this over to you.
Thank you very much. As Catherine mentioned, my name is Ruben Mann. I'm the Director of Marketing here at TrustFlight, and I'm joined with Caden Oseen, our AI Product Manager. Today, we'll be discussing how to build safety momentum with artificial intelligence and how you can supercharge your teams for 2025 and beyond. Next slide. So this is it's a very exciting presentation for us because we're going to be discussing and showcasing actually a very unique set of capabilities that we've developed using artificial intelligence for the very first time. But we'll start with a bit of TrustFlight's overview, artificial intelligence, why you should look into it now, the reporting barrier that often comes with safety management systems, benefits and risks of artificial intelligence systems, and then how you can shift culturally towards artificial intelligence in your workplace. Some of the key objectives will be to unearth ways to enhance safety and operational efficiency using AI, understanding the limitations of AI, and how you can shift your workplace culture towards artificial intelligence, which will be the conclusion of this session. And then we'll go over a question and answer period as well. So please feel free to record any questions that you have so we can discuss it at the end of the webinar. But starting off with the TrustFlight overview. So what we do is we provide integrated safety at every elevation. We have customers that are airports, FBOs, training organizations, regulators. We have customers that are special mission operators and offshore oil and gas, law enforcement, air medical. We have customers that are in commercial airlines and ACMI operators, and we also have business aviation customers across the globe. And with our safety solutions, we reduce risk, improve safety, and increase compliance. We have a team made up of safety and quality SMEs, ex-regulators, pilots, and post holders that inform the products that we develop to support the growing market demand for some of the things that they request. We're also a leader and pioneer in the integrated safety landscape in Europe, and we are ISO 9001 and 27001 accredited, meaning we put information security and cybersecurity at the heart of everything that we do. Today, we've got over 180,000 SMS users across the world on 750 different operators and AOCs across the world. So our corporate headquarters is in Vancouver, British Columbia. We also have offices in Leamington Spa, England, and Luton, England, which is the home of our technical services division, as well as many other sales offices across the planet. We're also ISBAO affiliated, of course, and we're members of the Flight Safety Foundation, as well as other aviation associations. Today, the TrustFlight ecosystem is a growing portfolio of integrated safety solutions that increase operator safety and efficiency. So we have things like Centric 5, the safety management system, quality management, and risk management system, which is completely integrated. We also have the TrustFlight Tech Log for maintenance and flight operation teams to work together. And we have the first commercially viable AI product that we've developed as the MEL manager solution.
Apologies, Ruben, there's a bit of a delay on the slide changes.
Okay.
Still loading.
So Centric 5 is our latest iteration of the safety management platform. A lot of you may be familiar with Centric 4 already, and by the end of the year, we'll have rolled this out to approximately 200 different operators. So if you're not currently on the Centric 5 implementation process yet, please reach out to our implementation team and we can make sure that you're on schedule for that. And this is a good example of how we differentiate ourselves. So instead of just being, for example, an electronic tech log provider or safety management system provider or a document distribution system, we provide everything under one ecosystem of applications. We do this because we believe that data should be shared across all of the applications to actually get the maximum benefits of safety solutions when you're implementing them. We're also experienced across multiple sectors of the industry, so commercial and private aviation being our biggest segment that we offer support to, as well as regulators, MROs, airports, training organizations, special mission operators, and so on. We're also approved under many different regulatory agencies, so the FAA, UKCAA, YASA, Transport Canada, ANAC, and many others. And I believe the next slide is going to be an introduction to our first poll question on artificial intelligence. And the question will be, when was artificial intelligence, you can skip this one, Caden, when was artificial intelligence first introduced? So if we can launch that poll question, that'd be wonderful. Perfect. And I'll pass it off to Caden from here.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll give you guys a couple maybe 30 seconds or so to complete the poll, and then we can continue. All right, we're about 80% voted, so I'm going to go ahead and close it. Thank you, Ruben. Oh, can I see these results? There we go. All right, so looks like a pretty even split. A lot of the 2000s. We're gonna, so I guess there's no exact answer for this. Sorry, we're trying to get back to the slides here, but it's not quite working. Where? Okay, hide results. Are we back to the presentation now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, awesome. So while there's no direct or perfect example of when it started, the definitions shifted a lot over time. We saw it first brought up in the 50s when Alan Turing introduced the Turing test. We saw neural networks and deep learning, so it's changed quite a lot in terms of what we define as AI. But eventually we got to where we are today with ChatGPT. And so the question is, AI has been around for decades, but why are we all of a sudden hearing about it so frequently? In everywhere that we look, we're hearing about AI. There's four main reasons for this that we're going to go over. The first one being the size of these models. Modern AI is enormous. These models are trained on massive data sets that allow them to understand complex patterns and subtleties that were previously out of reach. This helps them deliver much more accurate and nuanced insights, but at the same time, there is a cost. These models are expensive to develop and maintain. They also consume quite a lot of energy, which has implications for both competition in the field as well as sustainability. For the first time, advanced AI is no longer confined to research labs and big tech companies. Tools like ChatGPT make AI accessible to anyone with an internet connection. With this, it also brings a challenge. Many people have access to use AI, but there's not many that actually truly understand how to maximize its benefits. Thirdly, the conversational nature of AI makes it, or of modern AI, makes interacting with it feel much more natural. So this kind of chat-based AI, it's more approachable and engaging, leads people to use it more frequently, as well as find more diverse ways to use it. At the same time, it can create a false sense of understanding and sometimes unrealistic expectations about what AI can and can't do in real-world situations. Finally, execs are noticing AI's moved beyond tech circles and is now a hot topic in boardrooms. Leaders are intrigued by the potential of AI, but many are still struggling on identifying where it can actually be most effectively applied within their organization. This challenge now is not just about building AI, but about finding the right applications where it adds real value. These factors together are shaping how we think and engage with technology. This isn't just a shift in capability, it's a shift in how AI fits in our daily lives and business environments.
Hey, Caden, it looks like we have the poll popped up again. Is it possible to go back to the slide deck?
It says it's showing for me that it's showing it. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Catherine, are you able to remove the poll by chance?
I will work on that. Let's see. Took that out. What I'm going to suggest is that you stop sharing, Caden, and try resharing.
Okay.
Thanks for your patience, everyone. Polls are all right. I think that did it.
All right. Did we get to see the last slide at all, or did it?
Nope.
Okay. Well, hopefully you heard what I talked about. Here's kind of the slide, not too much to see there. So we'll continue from there. Talk a bit about safety reporting now. So safety reporting is a critical aspect of aviation safety management, helps us ensure potential hazards are identified and addressed before they do become bigger issues. However, we've noticed there is still a significant barrier that does reduce the effectiveness of these systems. So one of the major challenges is that often individuals may be hesitant to file reports. Now, this isn't necessarily due to a lack of care, but rather because of the complexity of the process. This gap in reporting can lead to opportunities for preventing future incidents. Sorry, I'm having okay. It's really delayed changing the slides. I'm just going to give it a second to catch up. Sorry, still waiting for it. Catherine, do you know if there's anything I can do on my side to?
The only thing I can think is if you unshare and then reshare again, it might clear up all the lag, but.
I think, but it was doing it from the start. We'll see. We'll see. We'll give it a second. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so these current systems we see, they often involve these lengthy forms, as shown here is an example of the IASA safety report for organizations. Many of these fields can often feel not directly relevant, or we can see duplication of fields. This can lead to frustration and underreporting, especially in higher pressure environments. The cumbersome nature of these reports can lead to reluctance or procrastination, resulting in critical safety information not being captured. An example of this could be a event that occurs just prior to landing. The pilot now proceeds to land the plane and doesn't have time to complete the report in full, as they're aware of the complexities when filling them in. They push to the side and tell themselves, I'll do it later. When later never comes, the report doesn't get submitted, and we miss out on a potentially critical data point in our safety management system. I wonder if I have to unshare and reshare for every slide.
Yeah, it's probably the best option at this point.
I'll go ahead and do that. All right, so without comprehensive reporting, organizations lack the full picture needed to analyze trends and identify root causes. Underreporting hinders the ability to implement corrective actions that could prevent future incidents. Ultimately, this can lead to a higher risk of future incidents, affecting both safety and operational efficiency. At TrustFlight, we've developed an AI-powered reporting system that uses voice interaction to simplify the reporting process and allow it to be reported in a much more streamlined manner. Our AI only asks the essential questions, adapting its queries based on the context provided, significantly reducing the number of fields required to fill out manually. Instead of filling out complex forms, users can simply talk through an incident with the AI, making the process feel more natural and less daunting. In these forms, a lot of the information may be repetitive or duplicated over sections. By simply describing an occurrence to the system, many of the fields can be deduced from just the description of the event. Our AI knows what information is needed for each specific case, so it doesn't ask irrelevant questions, speeding up the process without sacrificing the quality. We're now going to jump into our first demonstration and demonstrate how simple it is to report a safety occurrence with the help of a real-time voice assistant. So I'm going to go ahead and change my screen share. Okay, are we able to see? Okay, so what I've brought up now is One TrustFlight. One TrustFlight is our currently in development, all-encompassing suite of TrustFlight products built with AI from the ground up. For now, we're going to jump into our safety module and go ahead and start a new report. So this is the interface that we see that allows us to chat with our AI. We're going to go ahead and connect.
Hi there, I'm here to help you with your safety report. Can you please tell me what happened?
So we get greeted by an assistant. So in our example, I'm actually a student pilot out of Boundary Bay Airport here in British Columbia. While I haven't had experience with any safety reports, thankfully, that I've had to submit, there's been some somewhat close calls. So we've got mainly aircrafts not taking off in time before me when I'm landing, meaning I have to perform a go around. But for this scenario, we'll imagine maybe a fuel truck drove onto my runway as I was in my final approach. So I'm going to go ahead and describe what happened. Hi there, I was flying into Boundary Bay Airport and I was on my final approach at about 7 a.m. Pacific time this morning. When I was about to land, I noticed a fuel truck taxied onto my runway. I contacted ATC and they told me I was clear to land before this fuel truck drove onto the runway, and I had to perform a go around in order to avoid it.
Wow, that sounds like quite a situation. Just to confirm, the date of the incident was today, November 7th, 2024. Also, can you confirm the time of the occurrence?
I think you can figure out what time it was in UTC. It was 7 a.m. Pacific time, and yes, it was today.
Great, thank you. Since 7 a.m. Pacific time is 3 p.m. UTC, I'll use that for the report. Let me summarize what we've got so far. You were on final approach to Boundary Bay Airport, and at 3 p.m. UTC, you had to perform a go-around because a fuel truck taxied onto your runway. I'll include this in the initial report. The initial report is submitted. Now let's gather some more details. Can you tell me the most significant phase of flight related to this occurrence, your aircraft's altitude and speed at the time of the event?
Yeah, so in my final approach, I was going about 65 knots, and I was about 350 feet maybe above the ground.
Thanks for that information. Could you also tell me the flight rules under which you were operating and the total number of persons are?
Yeah, so I was operating under VFR, and it was just myself and my flight instructor on board.
Flight details are recorded. Now, regarding air navigation or air traffic involvement, can you provide the name of the Air Navigation Services Provider or ATS unit you were in contact with?
So as we can see here, we've got our initial fields like title, description, date, time, etc. And then we've got our flight details as well. So we've got our flight phase, altitude, speed, flight rules, and then we've got some information about our actual specific aircraft and operations. These would be pulled in from the system because it would know who I am, Caden, and that I'm a pilot of this aircraft and this is what I'm flying. So we build our systems in a way that it's smart. We don't have to go in and fill in information that a system should already know. But at the same time, the AI is able to deduce most of this information and quickly populate it. So now it's asking me about the ATS or ATC. I'll go ahead and say, yes, this was Bay Tower Inner on 118.2.
Perfect. That information is all set. Now, for the runway incursion details, can you confirm that the entities involved were an aircraft and a vehicle? And was the fuel truck being controlled by an ATS unit?
I think the fuel truck was being controlled, but I'm not 100% sure. And the entity involved, yeah, it was just the vehicle taxiing on, or driving onto the runway. Lastly, can we update the airspace class in our air navigation services section to be Class C? As we can see here, it listened to me and updated that right away. We've got some information as well about our runway incursion. And I guess it didn't fill these in. We can maybe ask it to. Can you fill in the FIR name for Vancouver FIR? So it added that. And we can go through now and confirm. All right, great. The report looks good.
Before we finish, we need to classify the risk of the incident. Given the situation, the most credible outcome, if it had escalated, might have been minor injuries or damage, and the effectiveness of the remaining barriers seems to have been effective since you successfully avoided the truck. Does this sound accurate?
Yes. Okay, so as we see now, we've also added a risk score. This risk score goes with the EASA recommendation for their kind of 2D matrix that looks at two areas. It looks at if this event had escalated, what would be the most credible outcome? In this case, it was minor injuries or damage. And then it also looks at the effectiveness of the remaining barriers. In this case, we performed a go around and were able to avoid it. So those were effective. And then at the end of the day, we come back to a risk score of 2, which is a low risk. So we're going to go ahead and push this report for now and save it for later. We'll come back to it in a bit. But for now, what I'd like to do is put it out to the floor. And if anybody has any examples that they would like to us to go through, just briefly describe it, throw it in the questions, and I'll look through them and give one of them a try.
We may have a shy audience, so if you don't get anything in the next 30 seconds, I would suggest let's just move on to the next
Yeah,
one.
I know. I've got some. So
Okay, great.
all right. So we're going to go ahead and use an example of a bird strike. So we'll go ahead and refresh our page. I guess we won't do Boundary Bay this time. We'll go to Vancouver International. Sorry if you guys aren't familiar with these airports. We're located in Vancouver, so these are our close by airports. But yeah, we'll start off describing an incident at Vancouver International where we encountered a bird strike after landing.
I'm here to help you with your safety report. Could you start by telling me what happened during the occurrence you'd like to report?
Hi there. I was flying into Vancouver International on November 6th at about 5 p.m. Pacific time when I encountered a bird strike.
Thanks for sharing that. To clarify, was there any damage to the aircraft from the bird strike?
There was slight damage, but to the canopy, but it was just a small crack.
I've got the initial report started. Now, could you tell me the phase of flight you were in when the bird strike occurred?
This was actually just after I landed on the runway. So it was just after landing and on the ground, yeah.
Thanks. Now, regarding the bird strike, were you advised of the presence of birds in the area before it happened?
I was not.
Great, I've noted that. Now, for the damage involved, you mentioned a small crack in the canopy. Would you say this damage is minor, substantial?
I'm sure you could infer this, but yes, it's minor.
All sections of the report have been completed. Does everything look good to you for submission? If so, I'll finalize the report.
So we can see here, we've got some new sections, such as there was damage involved, which means we have to include an additional section. We also had wildlife involved, so we've got this other brand new section. We've got our flight details, which again, some of these parts don't necessarily matter because we're on the ground. But again, if it didn't include flight rules, we could go ahead and say the flight rules are VFR, please update that. And so then
Let me
it'll
update the flight details
flight rules
with the
right
correct
away.
flight rules. Thanks for the information. Is there anything else you'd like to add or update?
Nope, it all looks good to me. So why was our risk score so low?
The risk score was assessed as low because the most credible outcome if the event had escalated was minor injuries or damage. Additionally, the remaining barriers were deemed effective, meaning they were very likely to prevent any further escalation into an accident. This combination of factors results in a low risk score for the incident.
So sometimes I guess this part's kind of up for question, because maybe the barriers were effective, but maybe they weren't, because in this scenario I actually ended up I did collide with a bird, and it did cause damage to the aircraft. So maybe I'll say I don't think they were completely effective, because there was still damage to the aircraft. So it looks like, what did you update it to?
Based on your input, I've updated the effectiveness of the remaining barriers to limited. This change reflects that while there were measures in place to prevent escalation, they weren't completely effective, as evidenced by the minor damage to the aircraft. This adjustment brings the risk score to 4, which is still considered low.
So there we are, basically just showing it, kind of giving its reasoning for doing certain things. But yeah, so that's the extent of our demonstration on real-time reporting. Now we are going to, yeah,
just a quick question. How does the interface work if somebody has an accent or the grammar is not so good?
Oh, it's perfectly fine. I could even talk to it in a different language. Unfortunately, I don't know any other languages, but yeah, no,
Okay.
the language, accents, grammar, it doesn't matter at all. There's,
All
yeah,
right.
it's to understand anything. Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to change my sharing back to our slideshow. Okay, are we able to see that?
Yep.
All right, great. So by focusing only on the essential questions, as we saw, each time we reported, there was different areas that we had to fill in. We didn't have to go and look through to find the specific sections. This minimizes the time taken to complete these reports. As we saw, it's very rapid, it responds instantly, and it instantly fills in the information in real time as we speak to it. We found that a conversation interface is much more user-friendly and less intimidating than traditional forms. With a conversation, it allows the reporting to feel more natural, and the user can ask for clarification on the questions or options at any time, getting simple or in-depth breakdown, as I showed, kind of asking it to break down the risk score and why it came to its conclusion. The AI has knowledge of each part of the safety report, so it understands how to explain the options and which options to progress through. It also does ensure that all the necessary information is captured, so that'll lead you to more comprehensive reports. So risks associated with bringing in an AI system into, sorry, give me 1 second. Just gonna wait for it to update. There we go. Okay. So the first concern brought to me when I said I want to see if we can integrate AI into the reporting process, see if we can just have a cool chat interface in real time. And the first risk was, well, could data be omitted, or could the AI become lazy and not complete the report in full? And we actually can easily mitigate this by, on the back-end side of things, where the AI actually interacts when it's completing the report, we restrict it to the same restrictions of the forms that we complete today. So if we look at the EASA report that we showed earlier on the first or second slide, there are specific drop-downs that have only a certain amount of options. Our AI understands these and is restricted to those. Also, there's fields that are required and some fields that are optional. It makes sure to fill in the required fields, and it will go ahead and fill in the optional fields if it deems them to be necessary. So the model itself, it's actually trained in a way that it understands the schema of the information that we provide it. So telling it this is what the form should look like, it doesn't actually see a form, but it sees it as a data structure on the backend side of things, and it's trained in a way that it's restricted to following those rules. The next primary concern is on accuracy, so making sure that the AI actually understands what's going on and fills in the correct information. It fills in what you said, and it doesn't what we call hallucinate and then fill in something completely random. As these systems are, for the most part, black boxes, we want to ensure that reporters are able to see exactly how the AI is doing the report, and that's why we had the report streaming to you in real time on the right side of the screen, so that you can, if you spot something off, like we did a couple times in the demo, we can just tell the AI and it'll adjust the report instantly. Finally, as we do use state-of-the-art AI models, the compute required for these processes is quite intense. So it's a challenge to allow this to occur directly on device, requiring us to actually offload this to a server-side connection, which of course requires internet. As compute does become increasingly easier to deploy on smaller and smaller devices, we're also seeing a lower opportunity cost of scaling models down in size to work on these devices. So this is something we're keeping an eye on to eventually bring it completely on device. If we look at recent innovations from the likes of Apple, they have recently integrated on-device large language models on their take on AI, or as they call it, Apple Intelligence. So hopefully that will provide us some assistance in doing so. In the meantime, while real-time reporting at 35,000 feet isn't necessarily feasible, at least without an internet connection, we still want to allow reporters to record their incident at the time of occurrence, so they can just take a recording of themselves, upload it, and then once they get a connection on the ground, the AI will go through it and then prompt them to fill in the gaps once they've touched down and they have time to complete it. Of course, onboard internet is quite frequent nowadays, so I don't expect this to be too large of a problem in the majority of cases. Just giving it a second to load the next slide. Okay, there we go, finally. So with a simplified and more streamlined process for reporting, we can easily improve the quality and quantity of our safety data. With AI-assisted reporting, removing these traditional friction points, we're expecting to see a significant increase in safety occurrence reporting across our systems. By simplifying this reporting process, we're capturing additional valuable data that might otherwise go unreported due to time constraints or process complexity. Every new report adds another piece to our understanding of operational safety, and real-time data collection enables immediate pattern recognition. Our goal is to continue to push the barriers of reactive responding to proactive safety management, and increased data is the key to unlock this. We can always look to AI to assist us in transforming raw data into actionable safety insights. All right. So with access to a larger data set, we have the opportunity now to uncover patterns that may indicate systemic issues or recurring problems. While manually reviewing such extensive data is time consuming, AI enables us to process and analyze this information swiftly. We can now highlight trends that might not be immediately apparent, allowing us to focus on areas that do need attention. Our AI tool excels at quickly searching through immense amounts of data to find incidents similar to newly reported ones. No amount of data is actually too much data. We're going to demonstrate this soon using a database of over 200,000 historical or safety reports. So what this means for an organization is that when a new incident is reported, we can rapidly identify past occurrences of similar incidents and provide valuable insights for immediate action. By identifying these patterns and similarities, we can address issues before they escalate into more significant incidents. This proactive approach allows us to implement preventative measures, enhancing overall safety and reducing potential risks. All right. Now, let's consider what these capabilities actually mean for the future of safety management. So recognizing and addressing recurring incidents allows us to implement strategies that prevent future occurrences, which not only mitigates potential risks, but also contributes to more reliable and safer operations. A system that actively supports reporting and promptly addresses issues fosters a culture of safety and accountability. When team members see that their reports lead to tangible improvements, it encourages ongoing participation and vigilance. Continuous analysis and feedback loops are key to evolving our safety management systems, and by constantly learning from past incidents and adapting our strategies, we're ensuring that we're always moving forwards towards a safer and more efficient future. By integrating AI into our safety protocols, we can enhance our ability to detect, analyze, and respond to safety incidents. This collaboration between human expertise and AI technology positions us to achieve higher standards of safety than ever before. Now, I'd like to introduce you to our AI-assisted incident analysis tool, a significant step. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna have to wait for the slide again. Okay. This is our AI-assisted incident analysis tool, a significant step forward in how we handle safety data. So we've compiled a data set of over 200,000 safety occurrences across Canada from the past 15 years. This extensive collection allows us to perform analysis on an abundant resource of reports. While our demonstration today is going to use public historical data, we want you to imagine the potential within your own organization. By leveraging your internal safety reports, the tool can derive personalized and highly relevant insights tailored to your specific operation. Our system is designed for rapid responsiveness. As soon as a new safety report is submitted, perhaps through the voice assistant we showcased earlier, the AI can begin its analysis instantly. It compares the new report against vast historical data that we've gathered, and this real-time processing means that potential issues are identified without delay, allowing for prompt action and response. One of the standout features of our AI tool is its ability to swiftly identify past incidents similar to new reports. Rather than performing basic search with keywords or specific tags, our search uses an advanced similarity search algorithm assisted by a large language model to actually capture the meaning behind these reports and identify the relevant ones accordingly. So we're now going to jump into a second live demonstration where we're going to demonstrate how with the safety report that we just submitted, our system can quickly navigate through over 200,000 historical records to find similar incidents and provide insights. Keep in mind, though, that while we're using public data for this demo, the true power of the tool shines when it's applied to your organization's internal safety reporting data for a much more tailored analysis. So we're going to jump back into our, let's see. All right, you guys can see Chrome? Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to come back here and we'll choose one of these. So we'll go back to our bird strike, let's say, and we will say, we're going to click on this button here to find similar reports. Our system's going to quickly search through and find some reports. So we've pulled up some reports pretty quickly from our quite massive database, and these reports at the same time we're performing an analysis, so it's actually going through these reports, comparing them to ours, and it's going to give us some insights afterwards. Right now, these occurrences that we're using in the demo, they're just pulled off of Cador, so we can actually go ahead and see these. These are public reports from Canada. These are all from YBR. The AI has decided to filter by that, and it's also similarly only found things related to bird strikes. If we look into these, we can see reported a bird strike, a seagull, and so these are showing us bird strikes related to this airport. And of course, there's going to be probably a lot of those, but the real insights come from when this is used in your organization, where you're in your internal data, you've got additional information like your investigation and mitigation strategies. And so we can look at those and see if amendments need to be made and compare them to those that we have here. But in this case, we've gotten a little AI report here. So it tells us about the incident that we're reporting, and analyzes similar occurrences. So they're not uncommon, particularly on runway 08 left. This makes sense because 08 left is actually on the water where you come into it. So it's quite a frequent bird area if you know the area well. We also have common themes include the phase of landing. Obviously, that's a pretty straightforward and expected answer for that. But yeah, the goal here is to more so demonstrate the ability to find similar reports out of a massive database and be able to give some basic insights here. Obviously, those insights go a lot further when you've got more internal data. For now, we're going to jump back into our presentation. I'll just see if there's any. All right, are we able to, we're back here. Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, in a real world organizational setting, this tool won't just pull from public data. It'll tap into your internal safety records, including, as I mentioned, those detailed investigation and mitigation efforts associated with the past incidents. When a new incident occurs, our AI isn't just going to simply flag these past incidents as being similar. It'll also bring forward the strategies that were previously implemented to address them. In our current SMS, for example, Centric, we have workflows built in to go through the entire safety management process. So while today we just focused on reporting, there are of course additional steps such as the investigation and mitigation. Having all of this data associated with your safety reports allows us to dive into them at a later time, such as once we've identified a recurring incident, we can now look back into our mitigation efforts and amend them to better suit the current landscape. AI will empower your team to make these decisions quickly, building upon those proven solutions or adjusting strategies that may have not been effective before. All right, let's back up. Okay. By identifying these recurring incidents rapidly, we can shift from a reactive to a proactive stance in safety management. Recognizing patterns early allows us to implement preventative measures before issues escalate. This proactive approach not only mitigates potential risk, but contributes to more reliable and safer operations across the board. Each incident, when it's thoroughly been analyzed, becomes an opportunity for learning and growth. With AI-assisted analysis, we establish continuous feedback loops that keep our safety management systems dynamic and responsive. The system evolves with every new piece of data, ensuring that we're consistently improving and adapting our safety practices. So the question today is, how can you as an organization change or shift to become an AI-centered organization? Sorry, I'm just waiting for it to update the slides. Okay, there we go. So number one, integrating AI into a safety management system does go beyond deploying new systems alone. It requires a cultural shift within organizations. To make this transition effective, adopting a learning mindset is key. AI tools, especially in safety, get better with time and usage, continually enhancing how we manage incidents and identify patterns. Transparency is also crucial. By demystifying AI processes, we ensure that it's trusted and understood as a supportive tool, not just a black box giving commands. When team members can see and understand how AI can assist in their day-to-day, their comfort with it grows, and so does their willingness to use it. To unlock AI's full potential, collaboration between teams must be encouraged. AI doesn't work in isolation. It creates value when safety insights flow across departments, enriching each step of the safety management process from reporting to strategic decision-making. Equally important is AI literacy, training team members to understand AI's role in both our safety systems and day-to-day tasks, ensure everyone's on the same page and prepared to leverage its benefits. Finally, by leading with proactive safety management, leadership can demonstrate AI's potential to improve outcomes. When management integrates AI, it shows commitment and sets the tone for the entire organization. This proactive approach moves us beyond compliance and into a culture where safety isn't just a priority, it's an evolving and dynamic process, continuously improving with AI by our side. So that's everything for today. We're now going to shift into a Q&A session. I'll go through some of the questions I see brought up here. But yeah, thank you everybody for attending today. I hope you enjoyed our demonstration as well as our presentation. But yeah, I will go through some of these questions. In regards, so I see a question about if it integrates with the audit process. So right now, again, this is so far this technology is, we're not even 2 months into it. So we're right at the edge right now. So we haven't gotten to the audit process or compliance yet, but we're making our way there. And for now, though, we have our kind of reporting and investigation is where we're looking to at the moment. But we will make our way to the audit process eventually. I see a question from Todd. What happens when the AI tool is not functioning? Is there a safety report to fill in manually as a backup? So yes, this is not a replacement for the way that we want people to report. We understand that not everybody is going to want to necessarily use voice chat. Maybe the environment that you're in, you can't actually, or maybe you're sitting in an office like we are most of the time, and your coworker sitting beside you don't want to hear you talking to your computer all day. Well, not that you're going to be, hopefully not submitting safety reports all day, but this is not a replacement. It's just an augmentation, I guess you could call it. You still have the ability in a system like Centric or TrustFlight to actually go in and manually fill in your safety report as you've always experienced. Option to have the trial version of Centric, or of this application, I see. We will keep in contact. I would say definitely reach out afterwards. And we will, I see that you already have a subscription to Centric and TrustFlight. So yes, this is something that will be coming soon. Not necessarily today, but down the road in the coming months, we will want to start pushing this out to customers and having them be our first, I guess, test run. But today, no, coming up soon.
Yeah, it's very important to understand that what Caden has demonstrated is leveraging artificial intelligence at the very basic or the deepest level of the application. So Centric, for example, has not been rebuilt from the ground up with a lot of these artificial intelligence capabilities. So there is going to be a roadmap that will be communicated as this develops further. But at this moment, there's no clear timeline to delivery for this. But if there are operators that are interested in the capabilities, then it's important that we start these discussions today so we can make sure that we have you on the roadmap and understand what your requirements are for some of these applications as well.
Thank you. So I see another question, is the risk level determined by company policy or by TrustFlight's criteria? So what we want to do for our demonstration today, we used the EASA recommended, and I forget the name, it's ACTS or something along those lines. There is their recommendation for it. I actually personally don't agree with it, and I think it could be a lot better. It's only looking at 2 dimensions of risk. I think that could be improved quite a lot. Now, in our current SMS Centric, we actually allow our customers to customize how risk level is determined when you're choosing from the 2 dimensions. So this is fully customizable, and this will work with whatever the customer sets up in their system for assessing risk for each type of associated report. Because again, today we only demonstrated the IASA safety reporting form, but this will be extended to work with any form that you would normally see. This would be your FAA form, whichever it may be, and the risk assessment, the way that your company defines how you determine risk will be associated with the specific form, and our AI will work with that rather than the generic IASA one today. Does the system store the voice of the reporter? No, it does not. So we don't actually store any of the voice logs. I'm wondering if that question is for privacy, or if you're wondering if you can make it so that you can actually verify who the person submitting the report is. If it's privacy, we have no reason necessarily to store the voice, but I guess there is the possibility for us to store the voice if, for example, that was wanted to be able to verify the person through their voice. We do actually do that in other test applications, not to stored voices, but more so differentiate people between one another. But yes, for verification purposes. Okay, yes, then in that case, we don't do it today, but that is something that's a good idea, and that's definitely something that we could integrate in the future. When will these be available? So we're working on getting them integrated with Centric eventually. There are some technicals where there's a reason we've built it into one TrustFlight, our up and coming system that encompasses the whole suite of TrustFlight products. We will be in contact. We are in contact with Centric, the development team right now, and we will see how quickly we can do so. So Sean asked, aside from being able to assist the report, is it being used elsewhere? So yes, we can use AI. In the second part of the demonstration, we actually used a combination of AI and some similarity search algorithms to be able to pull up these previous reports and then use AI to go through both. Today it was just showing you how it would go through the description and compare similarities between our currently submitted event and the previous ones. But in a real SMS with all your history of, for example, your mitigation and investigation strategies, it'll bring all of those in and be able to give much more insights on that. So yes. All right, I think that's all the questions for today. I see one more. Can it be used to prompt questions during an investigation? So just to clarify, do you mean could you, in the middle of an investigation, type a message like similar to ChatGPT and get a response from your previous reports and your current reports? Okay, so actually the second part of the demonstration where we showed the previous reports actually pulling up, before we integrated it into this application, when I was first developing it just on my computer and not in an application, it was a chat format. So I would actually go in and just say, testing with that one was Canadian reports. So I would say, hey, find me reports related to bird strikes at YVR over the past year. And within a couple seconds, we would get our response back and it would show us those reports and it would provide a summary of them. So yes, that functionality is absolutely doable. And right now we're actually working on, in our documents, we're working on the ability to, our documents module within one TrustFlight to be able to type in questions and get answers about specific parts in order to find information much more quickly. So any requirements to receive approval to use the application. So we're keeping a very close eye on the FAA and EASA, I guess CAA as well, guidelines for reporting. I'm not too sure about CAA, but if we look at something like the EASA framework for AI over the next few years, they talk about things such as the different steps of integrating AI. So we start off with basic kind of experimentation, seeing where AI can help. And throughout this, we move into different phases like integrating AI in more human in the loop situations similar to this, because at the end of the day, the biggest point where regulations will have a shift is when AI is actually autonomously starting to conduct work. Everything that we've demonstrated today is looking to augment rather than replace processes. So if we look at the example of something like autopilot in an aircraft, we don't, while autopilot is flying the plane, so yes, there's additional regulations required for it, we're not actually replacing the pilot. You still need the pilot to be there. What autopilot's doing is it's just making the pilot's job more efficient. They can spend their time looking at maybe it's secondary routes, alternate alternate arrivals, and assessing where they're like, let's say you're flying over the Atlantic and you've got a cutoff point of when you need to determine if one engine goes out, you're going back or you're going to continue, things like that. So while it doesn't actually replace them, it's augmenting them and it's letting them focus on more things, and at the end of the day being safer. So in our case, we're looking at how we can make the reporting process easier to do, so that while it's not necessarily in the long run of things it makes it quicker to report, but it's not just getting the report done for you. It's going to help you. You still have to verify the report is there, and then you can push that report. But the goal is to increase the number of reports that are submitted. So the approval stage from authorities probably won't come until we start to look at actually replacing processes with AI, which won't be for some time now. So don't get too worried there yet. Okay, I don't see any more questions. So
all right. Well handled, Caden. That was the computer issues are always sort of an unknown, so I appreciate your ability to sort of shift on the fly. What a great presentation, really just fascinating. The future is here. Can't wait to see how this develops. You all had the contact information for Caden and Ruben on those last slides. And thank you very much for your participation and asking questions. So Caden, Ruben, we will, there it is. There's the information again, in case you want to get in touch with them with other questions that you might have. We appreciate everybody being here for the SafetyNet webinar on AI to supercharge our safety teams. All right. This has been recorded, so you'll be able to find the link to this on the IBAC website. I put the link in the comment section, and we hope to see you for future webinars. And I'm going to put money on you guys coming back and showing us the next evolution of this. So Ruben, Caden, thank you very much. Everyone have a great day, and we will see you at the next SafetyNet.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, everyone.